See, here, he said, ladies and gentlemen, here in the heart of Little Dixie, in the center of our USA, we have gathered tonight to honor a great American tradition, for we are about to hear the story and witness the development of the horse America made.
This wonderful horse, so distinctive in gaits and conformation, so thrilling to watch in action, is truly the horse America made. For as you will see, he is as American as Yankee Doodle. Kentucky is hailed as the birthplace of the saddle horse, for it is there that the breed was developed, but Missouri soon came into the picture. For by 1800, the first settlers had arrived here, bringing their saddle horses with them. We in Missouri can claim many big names in the horse world. Stonewall King was owned during his entire stud career by Murray Cason of Stevens, Missouri, and shown by Mr. and Mrs. Claude Drew of Columbia. Stonewall King, who died in 1947, was one of the greatest saddle horse sires of early years. Many of the nation's top saddle horses today still claim Stonewall King in their pedigree. Going farther back into saddle horse history to one of Stonewall King's forebearers, we can claim Rex McDonald, world's champion five-gaited stallion who was foaled in Callaway County in the year 1890. So great was Rex McDonald's influence as a sire, American saddle horses showing today still boast his blood. Rex McDonald was a gorgeous, long-necked black stallion, a real eye-catcher standing still, and a sensation on the move. Indeed, the astounding performances of this beautiful black stallion will be remembered as long as there are horse lovers to carry on the tales. Another great star in the saddle horse firmament was Tom Bass, world-renowned trainer.
The guy who really kind of brought the focus to central Missouri was a man named Tom Bass, who was born on the Bass Plantation, and he was born a slave, owned by the Bass family, and freed, of course, at the end of the Civil War. And he had helped work horses and a lot of mules, actually, for the Bass family.
Shortly after the war between the states, he came to Mexico as a bellboy in the famous hotel, the Ringo House. But it wasn't long before he was a stable boy in the Potts training barn. To quote Tom himself, "My interest in saddle horses was by breeding and environment. I slept in the stable when I was so tiny I got covered up with a straw, and I rode the old mares when I was no bigger than a horsefly." Although he made many of the top show horses of his day, he never became wealthy. Tom was an artist, not a businessman. Tom Bass rode Rex McDonald to many of his important victories. He was also a high school trainer, supplying all the big American circuses with their top high school horses. Belle Beach, said to be the greatest high school mare of all time, was a favorite of Tom Bass. Thousands of people saw her win in all kinds of horse shows from Madison Square Garden on down. When the great trainer died, Will Rogers devoted an entire issue of his daily column to him, and Bass's funeral was one of the largest ever held in Mexico, Missouri. Perhaps it was this real understanding between Tom Bass and his horses that made his career with them so successful.
He became a world-famous horse trainer, and especially he invented the Bass bit, which we now most of the time call a curb bit. But it was a much more humane and kind bit than what was being used a lot of the time. And the use of that style of bit, and of course there have been a billion variations on it by now, but the use of that bit is now worldwide and across many breeds, and it all started here in central Missouri with Tom Bass.
Tom Bass was born a slave. Rex McDonald a scrawny colt who gave little promise of ever being worth his salt. Yet both became world famous.